Great.
Everyone has a bright light inside of them that deserves to be seen by the world. That's why it's time to shine the light on the extraordinary who are accomplishing phenomenal things. This is the Shine Out Loud Show with Lillian Obogo.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever in the world you are, and welcome to another episode of the Shine Out Loud Show with me, Lillian Obogo. Tonight is a feast of the senses and the tummy, and it's all about food. And I'm not just talking about any food, I'm talking about African cuisine, I'm talking about Nigerian cuisine, and the power couple behind the brainchild that is Onidodo. I am talking about Segun and Dare Oni, who decided that the stereotype of the bad customer service, low, not having it right restaurants when it comes to Nigerian restaurants has got to stop. So join me and welcome my two incredible guests. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. So I am excited to have both of you. I have a couple on the show, so yay.
Yay.
So let's start. First of all, now you went from supper club to restaurant. Let's go with, how did the supper club idea start in the first place?
Okay, so we got married and I started cooking at home. My husband loved my food. We had guests come over. Everyone loved the food, and everyone wanted to, have more of the food. And they said they would actually pay for my food. Okay. So I started off with a little catering here and there. I was doing cupcakes on the side as well. And then gradually I thought, how can I get people to actually taste my food? Mm-hmm. So I went online and there was the old pop-ups and supper clubs going on at that moment. So I thought, let's try it. Let's give it a try. So we do our own supper club and see if anyone will buy tickets. And if they do, then it means we're doing something right. And that's how it all started.
Wait, so Dara, you're telling me you're a self-taught chef?
Yes, I am.
Oh, now this is fun. This is good. All right. So you've decided, let's run a supper club 2014. You ran it for a good few years, and supper club to restaurant, that's a leap. What made you both take the jump?
Yeah. Consistency. Michael always, Segun, as you guys know him as well, always tells me to be consistent in everything I do. And we had been consistent with the supper club, and it got to a stage, what was the next thing to do after the supper club? And we looked around. There wasn't anything else because we were already doing a restaurant-like business. Right. And we couldn't open a takeaway because that was not the vision. The vision was actually for a sit-down meal. Mm-hmm. And the next thing was a restaurant. Okay. Even because it sounded like a big leap, that was the only gap between a supper club in what we were doing already in the supper club and the next big thing. So it wasn't like we had a product that we could sell, so we could go into like supermarkets or, takeaway. Like I said, that was not the vision. Mm-hmm. It was more of what our vision was and the next thing from a supper club after we've got all the awareness and more people were requesting for our food. So the restaurant came up.
Okay. So, I love this. I love the fact that it's consistency. It was part of the vision and purpose. So, first of all, people are curious because I've been curious about supper clubs. What is involved in running a supper club and how do you make money?
Supper clubs.
Make money from ticket sales. And that's about it. Just the ticket sales, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you make money. Okay.
I would say supper club is more about passion than making money.
Right.
Because first of all, you need to get awareness, and not a lot of people know about you at that time because it's mostly always either a chef that's got a vision and wants to do a supper club, or a well-known chef, in fact, where they've already got the they've got the following, so it's easier for them to make that money. But
Right.
it's supper club tends to be more about passion because it's intimate. You can do what you want in there. It's your vision, so you don't have to cater for everybody. So you're literally catering for your dream and vision, but for people to come and have a taste of it. And
Okay.
if they enjoy it, then, they keep coming. So in that sense, I would say it's passion because not everybody will always buy tickets. So, yeah.
It's also a
Okay.
good way to get your flavor out, to be honest.
Yeah, this is true, and there seem to be more and more supper clubs turning up, and more. I think it was last week I was doing some research, and there's
Yeah.
a slew of supper clubs for like African foods from different parts of Africa. I was so
Oh, yes.
impressed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when we started, there was very few people doing supper clubs, but now, compared to when we started, because when you say Africa, it's big. It's not
Of
just
course.
Nigeria, it's not just Ghana, it's not West Africa or East African. It's all over. There's so many food and flavors to try from Africa. So it's good that now there isn't just West African type of supper clubs out there. There is so many different types.
Okay, so listen, Dari. The fact that you're a self-taught chef has my mind blown because there are a couple of questions I have for you. Now, you both decided you were going to create a restaurant that was going to be about Nigerian food and fine dining. How can we push that narrative that Nigerian food can also be considered fine dining?
It can fine dining on its own. It's not just about the food alone. It's also the experience you get when you go into a fine dining restaurant. So it's from the moment the customer walks in terms of service, till the time the waiter comes out to, introduce the restaurant and the menu to them,
Right.
till when they first get their first course, second course, and whatever they've ordered, till they leave. So when you say Nigerian food being fine dining, food itself in a restaurant being fine dining, it is possible, but I feel that from our research anyway, and based on the restaurants we've been, what we've gathered is they're used to doing things a certain type of way.
Right.
And because we are a minority in the country itself, there's certain things that it's almost like we're grateful at least there's a Nigerian restaurant I can go to.
Right.
But now it's, there is so many people wanting to try Nigerian food. There is so many Nigerians in the UK as well. So it's not about, oh, thank goodness I found a Nigerian restaurant to go. It's more about we have got the customer base now. Let's start giving the true Nigerian experience in dining. And then how we've tuned that is the way we present our food. And that's why a lot of people say it's more fine dining, because it's not just slapped up on the plate. We put love in there. We believe you eat with your eyes first before
Yes.
you actually taste the food. So it's all those little details, including the customer service, that we've put together to make it a fine dining. So I think when we define what fine dining is in itself, then we can understand that any cuisine can be fine dining. It's more of how how you deliver it that matters.
Okay. Now, Dare, we've had a couple of questions come in. So first and foremost, a person goes, what is a supper club?
Okay. A supper club is basically you hiring a venue and making it a restaurant-like style for the day or for the week or for a month or 3 months, depending on how long you can have the venue for. But it's not a permanent resident. And you literally have your menu, which, the person behind the vision of the supper club has created,
Right.
and they can tweak at any point at any time. Compared to when you go to a restaurant, it's the same thing almost all the time, except there's a special.
Right.
So it's literally getting a venue, hiring it out, making it like a restaurant to fit whatever cuisine you're doing, and also let your customers experience whatever dining you're offering, which would be different from a normal restaurant-like setting.
Right. Okay, so Segun and Dare, this is for both of you. What were you both doing before you started the Supper Club Adventures?
I was an accountant before this.
And so was I. We're both accountants.
Wait a minute. Wait, both accountant. What, did you guys meet over the ACCA? You know, your eye.
No.
Funny stories. We actually met in secondary school. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. What secondary school? Let's have the backstory.
Oh, wow.
We actually met in secondary school, which was in
Benin.
Republic de Benin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a country close to Nigeria. So Dare was studying. Dare came from here to study for about 3 years, and she
Okay.
came back. And I finished over there and came over here, and yeah, we started going up from there.
Oh, all right. So both accountants. I don't want to come to your house and ask any mass question because I just regret my life. Seriously. How do you both go from accountancy? And we know our Nigerian parents are like, you must get your degrees and do all of these. How do you go from accountancy to restaurateurs?
For me, I think it was a bit easier for me in the sense that I had the passion for food.
Right.
And I was lucky enough that Segun's got passion for business. So coming together, it made it easier for the restaurant to work. So the supper club was almost like, okay, this is feeding my passion, but I was still working as an accountant.
Right.
So I could still do both.
Mm-hmm.
But as we got along and we saw how serious it was, and after trying different restaurants and the standards of some restaurants we've been in the country, some Nigerian restaurants, we've been in the country, we felt like it was time to make a change.
Okay.
And I believe it was not just me alone. Segun felt the same way too. And that helped push the goal towards the restaurant.
Awesome.
So the change, I would say, from an accountant to a restaurant owner is, it was easier for me, I would say, because I felt it needed to be done.
Right.
But Segun, what would you say?
I've always come off the ideology that you can never be richer than your employer. So it's best to kind of follow what you like and try to do your business if you can. And fortunately for me, Daria had the passion of cooking and stuff, so it was a good way to invest and just follow the dream. Literally.
Awesome. Okay, so you know what? There is a generalized view that restaurant owned by people of color, the staff are rude, the service is hit and miss. It's never a good thing. Now, and I know that both of you, your main passion is actually proving people wrong. But how do you start changing the hearts and minds of people when they believe that this is the standard, and there's, to go above that is, well, you're trying to be better or something, or you're trying to be, how do you fight those ideologies?
The best way for me to better something is to prove it, right?
Yes.
So most of the staff we've got, when they come in, we treat them like family, and we show the same love we've got for our siblings to them, or just like the same way we treat our friends. So if you radiate love to your staff members, they'll be able to show that to your customers, and the training we do is about a month, I think, about 3 to 4
weeks,
3 to 4 weeks.
Wow.
And I keep stressing during the training, customer service is important. This is the base of everything. Even if someone don't like the food, make sure they leave with a good experience. Mm-hmm. Make sure they always remember you made their day or something. And yeah, we've done that successfully over the space of 1 year. We've opened deep. We've always got good feedback from our customers.
Yeah. So I think the best way to show people is by the actions that we do ourselves. And until they come in, there isn't any way to change it. But through the reviews we've got on TripAdvisor, on Google, I think on TripAdvisor we're 5-star on there. So through that, at least if people should go on there, they can think, oh wait, maybe this is a different type of African restaurant or Black-owned restaurant. Let's give it a try. So that's, I think, what we hope for.
Okay. And actually, this is very powerful. I am going to have to make my way up north. You know, it's hard for us South Londoners. I will make my way up north, and I have to come and try the food. Now we know, okay, you know, our elders will say, "This your food doesn't. It does not look like Nigerian food. What is this?"
Oh, we've got a lot of that. Well,
Eh?
you guys, you're the fun.
Yeah, like that at the front, you know. And funny enough, I was telling Darry last week that most of the adults we're getting lately, they're more open-minded to try our signature stuff now, which is quite cool. So yeah, I think we're changing something and we're doing something right on that aspect.
Yeah, I remember a customer came in and we've got banga. I don't know if you know what banga soup is.
Yeah, yes, I do. It tortured me my life in my childhood.
So I think a man came in here and he was saying basically, is this the authentic banga soup? Because if it's not authentic, I don't want it. And I remember the waiter was saying that, yes, it is authentic. It's as authentic as you can get based on the ingredients we have access to. And it was like, should I get it or not? They advised him to get it anyway in the end. And by the time he finished, it was like, this is the best banga soup I've ever tasted. It reminds me of back home. Compliments to the chef, and just little things like that, I think goes a long way and makes us know that as long as they're willing to try, even though it looks different, we're doing something right.
Okay, and seriously, like I said, banga soup, I am not a fan, but the fact that you are actually creating meals and you are recreating the authentic meals with the ingredients you have here is actually amazing. The fact that you're turning the hearts and minds of our elders who are, you know, a bit set in their ways.
Yes, yes. Oh.
And I say that lovingly. You know, and excuse me if anybody heard me coughing. I just had something stuck in my throat, and the mute button seemed to not want to work this evening. So if I walked into the restaurant and asked for the chef's choice on the menu, what can I anticipate to get?
Lamb shank and the yam porridge puree with sauteed spinach. I think that's one of my favorite on there. But it also depends on how you're feeling, because I also love the jollof spaghetti and tiger prawns on the menu.
Jollof spaghetti. You had me at jollof spaghetti. Tiger prawns. I don't do seafood, but
Okay.
jollof spaghetti has my name on it. But then at the same time, you said lamb shank, and then you start using fancy words like puree, and then I want to do my master chef face and go So
It's literally the same yam porridge you would get, but just in a puree. So the texture is better. It complements the lamb shank as you cut. You know, have a cut of the lamb shank. Every bite complements it with the puree, and the sauteed spinach just gives it that flavor, plus the sauce that comes on top of it. So compared to having that chunk of yam, you know, on there. So it is yam porridge as you know it as. You know, the old flavor, everything is the same, but it's just in a puree form.
Okay. Like I said, I'm gonna have to come and try it and do my master chef face. It's you know, you need those moments in life where you can do your master chef face and go, oh, okay, yes, I can taste the yam porridge flavors rolling off my tongue. You know. So, Segun, what are the challenges you had to contend with being the front end of the establishment that you've had to learn along the way?
Yeah, this is a tricky one. Well, not so tricky. you get a lot of difficult people. If you're trying to change something, it requires a lot of patience. So I've kind of had to learn a lot of that, because people want things done in a certain type of way. Right. And if you don't do it their way, it's a problem, you know. So sometimes you just not bend the rules, but stick to what you're doing and stick to your vision. Because if you're easily
So tailoring it to
yeah
customer.
Yeah, if you're tolerant to every customer, then gradually you get your point across, and people understand it from your way, and just be consistent in the way you treat every other customer as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I am curious. For both of you, what cuisines do you like to eat when you're not working?
I like a lot of Chinese. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'm
What
more of a
about
burger person.
okay. Why was I expecting you to tell me you listen, you like to craft, a full scale French course cuisine with everything?
No, you actually get this with a lot of chefs, whereby they love the quick meals, easy going. But we like to do the crafty stuff for other people to experience.
Okay. So, Dara, you were 2017, you were part of the pop-up event, The Chefs Across Continent at the Pillar
yes.
Box Kitchen. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, that was amazing. So I met the ladies from Kirsty's Christmas Challenge,
Right.
where I showcased Nigerian food. I did jollof rice and a lamb shank as well, with moi moi and plantain. So I met the girls there. I didn't actually win the challenge, but we decided that we wanted to, using that platform, we wanted to showcase the food from those continents. So that was really interesting in the sense that we got a different type of customer base that we wouldn't have normally been able to reach out to. And they all loved the food and wanted us to do another one. But due to everyone's, personal lives, and we've not been able to carry on till now. But we all still keep in touch. So the experience was good in terms of meeting the ladies and just, having 3 new ladies that I would never have met with, doing the same thing as I do. Because it's not easy for women in this business in itself. Finding each other and working together, and also just seeing how other people from different backgrounds reacted to Nigerian food, for instance, Cameroon food as well, and we had Philippines. So it was very interesting and very encouraging to go forward with what me and Segun was doing before with the supper club, knowing that we're not just targeting Nigerians alone. We would be able to sell to anyone and everybody.
And that's really fantastic because you took it to the center stage, and yeah, you may not have won the challenge, but you were representing your vision.
Yes. And also representing Nigeria as a whole, because as we both know, Nigeria doesn't have the best, light in the media itself. And with a lot of people, when you hear Nigeria, you just think, the obvious. So it was good to be able to just do that, and for people to think, oh, maybe I would, try Nigerian food or even go to Nigeria. The food might not be as bad as I thought it would be, seen from basically what I've showed them. And I think we also got questions from customers that day, where can we buy some of these ingredients? Where can we get this food? And at that point, we didn't have a restaurant then. So it was more of like, we had to recommend existing restaurants that we thought was good enough in terms of service and food at that point.
Okay. So that in itself is actually well done for that.
Thank you.
And we need to see you doing more. So yes, so maybe the next series of Master Chef, we'll want to see you. No, seriously, we'll all support Nigeria as a whole. Awesome. Let's all just come out and support.
We'll think about it. Put it in the pipeline.
So, looking at how far you've gone, looking at the work that you're doing with this restaurant, and actually your challenge is not just about food, you're challenging stereotypes, you are changing people's taste buds. So, whose work inspires new items on the menu? Who's responsible for that? I'll go with...
I'll say I'm responsible as the head chef in here. I'm always creating stuff because I feel like that's one of my passions as well, being creative. Right. So I don't only do that with food, I do it with a lot of things. So when it comes to food, it's easier. But the person that approves each creativity that I do in food is Segun. So I have come up with some crazy ideas, and he's just thought, take this out of my face now. And he has approved a lot of the dishes, but it's also, I think with what he says, it's not just putting those specials out there,
Right.
but also specials that people would be willing to try and would also sell. And that's why I said supper club and restaurants are different, because with a supper club, I can just put it as special.
Yeah.
And if people like it or not, then that's how I would know. But with a restaurant, you need to go through a whole system of dietary requirements, what's in there, the list of ingredients, is this going to cater for the majority of your customer base or not? So there's a lot that goes into it. But I would just create, and Segun will just approve, not just on taste, but everything else that comes with it.
Okay. So, Segun, you are the final veto of what comes out from the kitchen.
Yes, I am.
So what makes you say yes and what makes you say no? What does that plate of food have to do to make you go, yeah, this is a winner?
It has to be very, very, very delicious. And it has to look really, like plating wise, it has to look very presentable as well.
Okay.
And yeah, that's majorly what I look out for before we go into the dietary requirements and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is just me asking, not staring anything here, but who actually does cooking at home?
Do you know what? I actually cook as well. I can cook. So it depends. It depends on who's free, really.
Okay.
It depends on
who's free, yeah. And it depends on what type of stuff we want to eat at home. Yeah. Then.
Okay. All right, so you can cook. Okay, so this is good. This is good. We like a man who can cook.
Yeah, he can really cook. I think he's got the best fried rice.
Ooh, that is really top ranking. If the chef is saying that your fried rice is the best.
Banging. Don't worry, I'll make it for you. Especially on the day you're coming, I'll make sure I'm the one that makes the fried rice.
Yes. Okay, so I'm excited now. And what Nigerian dish do you wish more people will try?
I'll probably say the soup. I would say efo egusi.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got so much flavors. On its own, without meat or fish, any protein. Well, I would say any protein because there's locust beans as well. But just as the vegetables, it's so nutritious, and the taste and flavor in itself, it's just amazing to me.
Right.
Pounded yam, I just think that, this is not poundo yam. I mean like proper pounded yam. I think that is just, I wish everyone could taste that, but because of the way it looks, a lot of people are very hesitant to try it, which is understandable. But I would say efo egusi and pounded yam.
But what about pepper soup? Because a lot of people, they hear the word pepper and soup in the place, they're like, no, you're trying to kill me.
I think if I'm talking based on my experience, I've had some really bad pepper soup.
Oh dear.
So I would not recommend that. I don't know would you recommend?
I recommend it still. It depends on how it's made, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some soups that I know from childhood. I'm like, yeah, don't do it. It's don't leave it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything with bitter leaf, I'm like, no, don't do it. It's not good for you.
As long as it's not overwhelming, that's the problem. Getting it not to be overwhelming. I think it's bitter leaf too is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just casting back to my childhood. My 10-year-old self is telling you no.
Like,
no. Now, what was the inspiration behind the chicken and waffles dish? Because I'm curious.
It's so we used to go to Duck and Waffles a lot, and I was just like, oh, this is really nice. How can I recreate this? I do that as well when I go out to a restaurant and I taste something that is good. How can I put a Nigerian infusion in there that would be good? So that's how the chicken and waffles started. I think the recipe, I was working on it for 3 years. in terms
Okay.
of the waffles itself and getting the spices. Because initially I wanted the plantain inside the waffle mix,
Ooh.
um, and I didn't really like that visually. So I took it out, So basically, it started from duck and waffles. I wanted to put a Nigerian touch to it, and I started working on it. It started off as normal chicken, then it was suya chicken, and should we put the suya pepper outside or inside the chicken? It was a lot of fiddling about,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that was where the first inspiration came out from.
Okay.
Seeing it somewhere else as just normal duck and waffles.
Yeah, duck and waffles, step aside. Let's have this chicken and waffles here. So, what is, and Segun, I'll ask you this question first. What are some of the interesting behind the scenes happening that a regular diner is not aware of when they're in a restaurant?
um, when equipments are not working and you have to get the food out, because you can't with electric and all this stuff, with the equipment and stuff, you can't tell when they pack up and stuff. So yeah, at the beginning you could just get a power cut at the back or something, and we have to get that done and get the food out on time. So it's a bit of a mayhem at the back sometimes.
Okay. Dare, what about you? What are some of the things that you want to share?
I don't think I would say I want to share, but I think with every kitchen, it's when service is on, it's on, and the tempo in the kitchen is just always crazy. But when we say crazy, it's not crazy that things are all over the place and we don't know what's going on. The system, however, is just getting stuff out on time and making sure, as long as the front has not done a mistake or the customer's not spoiled to route. I would say it's actually not spoiled to routine, but change the routine of they've ordered something and they change their mind in the process while making the food. Then everything tends to go smoothly. But it's the kitchen is always a crazy place anyway. Whatever restaurant it is, I believe it's always crazy in the kitchen. So nothing out of the ordinary, but it's a crazy place. Anything that you think you can go wrong goes wrong in the kitchen, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, both of you, what are you most proud about Onidodo?
Yeah, the fact we can bring out all these things and people actually accept it. Like there's a majority of people that accept it, and the fact we've changed the way some people look at customer service,
Right.
it makes me proud every time I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say from a self-taught chef and people enjoying my food the way they do, and sending compliments to the chef, and just the fact that after a year we're still it makes me really proud, because if you speak to other restaurant owners, they tell you that 1 year, if you can make it to 1 year, then you've got something going on.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you're both married and you both work together. How do you manage the aspect of your business relationship and your relationship? And I will start with Dare with this one.
No! You've been giving it to Segun since now. You can tell it to stop. And don't tell me ladies first.
You know what? Yeah, ladies first.
Okay. Initially, it wasn't easy because we talk about the restaurant 24/7, and there'll be times one person wants to switch off and the other person doesn't want to, and finding that balance was a bit hard.
Okay.
But we don't open on Mondays, so in as much as we try not to do anything to do with the restaurant on a Monday, even if we do have stuff to do, because there's always something to do every day, we make it very minimal and limit it to very important things. And then, so that day is a day where we have for ourselves to do anything and talk about anything else except from the restaurant. only when necessary. So, but before we got to that stage, it was quite hard. I'm going to be very honest. There were a lot of ups and downs in that time, but where I would say I married my best friend, so it was easier to say, look, this is causing a problem. How can we make it better? And it was easier for him to say, I think so too. I think we should do this or do that, and find a conclusion that works for both of us. So yeah, it was hard initially, but now we're at a place where it's like, oh, we know what works, so it's cool.
Okay, so Segun?
Darius kind of said it already.
All right, so let me tweak the question for you, Segun.
Yeah.
What have you both learned about being in a working relationship that is also a marriage?
It was quite tough at the beginning, to be honest, because when emotions are high at the back, you tend to forget this is my partner for a second, and you just see it as work. So you could do setting emotions apart was the first step for me. Like, if anyone says something or acts a certain way, you have to look at it like it's work, really. So everything outside of that, immediately the shutters go down, it's back to normal. So differentiating that was very important. But at the beginning, it was not that easy. But we kind of found a way, like she said, to balance it all out. And we just decided when we step in here, it's work. And when we step out of here, back to husband and wife. But when we're in here, we're business partners.
Okay. All right, that's a very interesting way to handle that. Now, being that you both are breaking new grounds with the restaurant business, how do you deal with your doubts that come up? And this is for you, Segun, and then we'll get an answer from Dare.
I like that.
Say that again, sorry. Can you ask the question again, please?
So yes, certainly. Being that you're both breaking brand new grounds with this restaurant, how do you deal with your doubts?
Well, the down days, the beginning was really challenging because obviously you don't get a lot of customers at first, and financial wise and stuff like that. You have to be very patient, and it was very difficult. But now you just have to, I'm a bit spiritual now. You just have to trust God.
Right.
At that point, the down days, you just have to trust God and keep believing in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And if you've worked hard for something, I believe you're bound to get a reward for it. So even on the down days, you just kind of think of the good you're trying to do to spur you on till the good times come. That's how I deal with it. Yeah.
All right. So, Dare, what about you?
I'm a bit of a difficult one because I hardly have doubts. Ooh. And that's a problem in its own. Because when you always see the positives, sometimes when it comes to business, it's hard to evaluate things and say, this is where we need to improve or this can be done better. Right. So, say, for instance, initially when the customers were not coming, it was more like, what can we do to make customers come? Whereas I would say, they're coming. You know, I know they're coming because I'm being positive. But in business, you have to think, do we need to touch PR? You know, how can we improve that? More social media awareness. So, sorry, I think in dealing with doubts, I hardly have doubts. So I can't really say, down days. Oh, did I miss that? Was it doubts or down days? Sorry.
Doubts. It's doubts. So, but okay. Down days are also when those days you're also doubting yourself. So that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, of course. So so with the doubts, like I said, that hardly comes to me, and I think I'll probably say I'm more of learning how to evaluate things when Segun says, "Oh, this is not doing well as it should be." So, say for instance, a dish is not selling as it should be. It brings it to my attention, and I'll think, do we need to tweak it? Do we need to do something? So I tend to listen to him more when it comes to stuff like that, so that we can work better. I think, it's just more of listening to him and continue staying positive, but working together in those days that he feels that way.
Okay. So, Segun, let me ask this question of you first. What do you want the legacy of Onidodo to be?
I want it to change a lot of stuff with regarding to like the way people perceive African food, good service, somewhere people can come to. Any Onidodo in the future we open, I want it to be a place people can come to and just leave. We leave an imprint on them as well.
Right.
Like we kind of give back, not just you coming in just to dine with us, but we'll give you a good experience and stuff like that, and help a lot of youths as well.
Okay.
Get jobs and literally those are the line of stuff.
Okay, so the legacy you want is to basically leave an imprint on your customers in a
Yes.
very positive way.
Positive way, yeah.
Your chains of Onidodo restaurants across London, so I'll be expecting one in South London soon.
Very soon, by God's grace.
We actually get emails from people saying, "Are you going to open in South London anytime soon?"
You know, with Brexit, I might need a passport to go to North London. Come on, people. Come now.
We need one to go to Croydon.
Yeah, you know what? Let's not talk about Croydon. It's far. And you want to make sure that Onidodo is a place that actually opens its doors to the youths to make sure that they can learn a trade, they can start a business, and they can learn.
Yes.
I love that. I absolutely do. Dare, what do you want the legacy to be?
I would say something very similar to what Segun has already said. The only thing I would add to that is that the food to basically leave an impact on people the way they perceive Nigerian food. And this is just not non-Nigerians. This is also Nigerians as well. That hopefully they can take that home and just prepare the food with more care and love.
Right.
Because what I've found out is that the younger generation now, they would rather eat a different cuisine than rice and stew, for instance, you know? So just little things like that. Mm-hmm. I think I would love that Onidodo can do that to let people know that with the same ingredients you have at home, you can prepare a dish in a certain way. And also the charity function of things, where that's where we hope to work on later on in the future. And this is with, like Segun said, the youths as well as children as well, young children, and homelessness as well.
Okay. So I know that you said that on Mondays you don't open the restaurant because you needed to have, couple time and you just needed to make sure you have that space. How else do you both incorporate self-care into your lives? So let's go with Dare.
Spa treatment.
My girl.
I love it. I like to relax because standing in the kitchen for 18 to 20 hours a day sometimes can be crazy. So I love my spa treatment. I sometimes just sleep when I can. Initially, that was hard to do because I was still working as an accountant. Right. But now I just put them into my schedule that this is what I'm doing. So yeah, it's just that, and then we go on date nights on Mondays.
Nice. So, yeah. And Segun, what about you? How do you incorporate self-care?
I'll probably just play my PlayStation day, but probably just go have drinks with my friends sometimes on my free days, or travel and then go on date nights, as she said.
Okay, so what game on PlayStations do you actually play?
FIFA. That's all I play. Yeah.
That's okay. Okay, so I can't talk about the football because I do not play FIFA, but yeah. Okay, so now my next question. Oh, actually, looking at where we are at that point in the show where we talk about our So Loud moment of the week. this is where you give a virtual shout out to a person, a thing, or even each other for the amazing work that you're doing. So, who is your so loud moment for the week? And that is to Dare.
Oh, thanks. That makes it easy for me. My soul out moment is going to Shego. Hey. Um, for being very supportive as usual and working extra hard each day. This week we've just opened yesterday, Tuesday, but Shego's been amazing already this week. So, and he's here today on his day off. So, yeah, shout out to you, Shegs.
I think, yeah, go on.
No, go on.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to say the same thing because this is the only person I've probably seen all week. To be honest, because I haven't done anything. Yeah, my solar moment goes to Derek for always holding it down at the back and taking care of the house as well, even when we get home. Still being a wife and a chef at the restaurant as well. It's not easy, but yeah, she's been doing great at it.
Awesome. So that deserves a huge round of applause. And I love the energy between both of you. You can tell that you both enjoy not just the process of the cooking and working and creating for your customers, but it actually sounds like you both truly enjoy working with each other, which is actually really amazing.
Yeah, it's actually fun working with Shego. I actually have fun working with him. We have our days, but it makes it easier. So when he's not in, he's got a day off, or I'm not around, while I'm open, he feels the way I feel. Where, and it's also that thing, because he's around, everything's gonna go well.
Right.
So it's fun. Yeah, it's fun working.
It's fun, yeah. That's all right. I could cope with it.
Can you believe this?
Man, this woman just made you. She said, "Oh, all these nice things," and then you come out with, "I could cope with her."
See what I have to do with.
I'm trying.
Okay, so looking at your journey so far, what advice would you give your 18-year-old selves? And let's go with Shego to start.
My 18-year-old self, I would say, be patient. Don't worry too much. Everything will fall in place. And what else? I never gave up, so I'm still here. I'll just say be consistent and a lot of patience. And things will always fall in place. Don't worry too much. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. Dare?
I would say to my 18-year-old self, definitely be patient and enjoy yourself as much as you can. And stay connected with God.
Enjoy the good and bad times as well.
Yeah, the good and the bad times.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by enjoy yourself, definitely. The good and the bad times, because they all shape you to be who you're going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, here's my question. And my question here is, looking at all that you've done, all that you're planning to do, let me phrase this question. What is the one thing that you believe that Onidodo is going to do in the next 5 to 10 years?
Open more branches.
Okay.
Create more dishes.
Okay.
Create loads of more dishes. Open the doors for more people to achieve their dreams, which is help more chefs to, if people want to learn how kitchen work and stuff like that, they're always welcome to come in and give the experience to other people. And I was saying to Dare, this is not approved yet, but I was saying to Dare, I was looking for a way to actually give back already, which is on Mondays when we're not open to allow people to use the venue.
Okay.
and do for supper clubs and do more of stuff like that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Awesome. And, you know, I think this I'm going to ask to Dare. What drives your creativity?
Um, oh, my purpose probably. I believe that it's a purpose what I'm doing in terms of changing. I'm changing the way Nigerian food is being perceived when people come into Onidodo. So what drives me is that I need to fulfill my purpose, and to do that, I need to be creative and never give up or get tired.
Right. That's amazing.
Thank you.
All right. So, last question.
Oh no,
I know. I
I was
know.
loving this.
Last question. As diners, what is the one thing you both won't eat? And let's go with Segun first.
Frog legs.
Okay. You were quick. You're like, nope, no, and no.
Frog legs. I don't know how people eat that, but yeah, nah.
Nah. Okay. Uh, Darren, what about you?
I'm a picky eater, so I've got a list. But I
Wow.
think,
Oh,
um, let's say mushroom.
what?
I know you like mushrooms, but no.
What? What? Wait, wait,
Mushrooms.
wait. What? Why? Why are you hating on the mushrooms? Mushrooms are good.
I dig. No, no. Trust me, I've got a list of things I don't like to eat.
You know what? I got time. Let's hear them. So mushrooms are one. What else?
Cheese.
Woman, you're a chef. How
What do you
can
say?
you're a chef. How can you not eat cheese?
No, no.
Okay.
The
All
only
right.
cheese I eat is mozzarella, and it has to be grilled.
Okay, so
Yeah.
no cheese. Okay, what else?
No tomatoes.
All right, I give up. I give up. Somebody called the Nigerian police because how do you have stew?
No tomatoes. I don't like okra.
Okay, we can't be friends now.
Oh. And no snails. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, me and you were there. I feel
Okay.
that
At
pain.
least we've
Yeah.
got one thing.
Yeah.
A long list, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's
If I finish my list, you think I'm really weird. And how do I cook all this food?
You know what? You know what? We'll just accept you as the amazingly, awesomely, self-taught chef that you are, who has some, tendencies with food. That's all.
Thank you.
Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. So, for people who don't know where you are, how can they find you?
We're based at 83 Turnpike Lane. That's
Okay.
M83 Turnpike Lane, N80DY. And it's the closest station is Turnpike Lane Station
Okay.
or Wood Green.
Okay.
Yeah, it's literally in front of the Ladbrokes on Turnpike Lane.
Okay. And you have your website as well, and you're also on social media as well.
Yes, that's www.onidodo.co.uk.com, sorry. And Instagram is Onidodo, and Twitter is Onidodo UK, and Facebook is Onidodo, and that's it.
Okay. All right, folks, you know how to find them. I suggest we make that great journey for us being on the south of the river and go find this place. The food is worth it. Just looking at their pictures, their passion and purpose cannot be denied. They are changing how we view or how our Nigerian cuisine is viewed across the world, and they're starting with London. So let's support this amazing restaurant, and let's support this amazing couple doing what they do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so like I said, it's been a pleasure. Folks, you know what to do. Same time, same place next week, and we'll have another amazing guest. But I need you to go out, go onto Twitter, go onto Facebook, go onto Insta, leave us some love, leave our guests some love. We'll love to hear back from you. So, it's a wrap for this week. Goodbye.
You've been
Bye.
listening to The Shine Out Loud Show. If you want to connect with us or let us know what you thought of today's show, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Shine Out Show.